Welcome to our deep dive
Yeah.
into Richard Ramirez's One More Day of Hope.
Okay.
It's a collection of short stories.
Right.
Each one is like a window into how people deal with really tough stuff.
Yeah.
Loss,
Grief.
grief, yeah.
Questioning their faith.
Questioning their faith, yeah.
It's interesting how Ramirez uses very specific settings
Right.
and characters
Mm-hmm.
to explore these universal themes.
Yeah.
For example, in A Love Beyond Life,
Right.
we're transported to this isolated mountain village.
Okay.
Life there is already hard,
Yeah.
and then this illness sweeps through,
Oh, wow.
adding another layer of desperation.
Yeah, it creates this stark backdrop for young Luca's story.
Right.
He's determined to save his sick father.
Mm-hmm.
He sets off on this almost impossible journey
Yeah.
to find a rare herb.
It's a classic hero's journey in a way,
Right?
but with a gut-wrenching twist.
It is.
Luca battles treacherous conditions,
Yeah.
pushes himself to the limit, and you find yourself rooting for him
I know. I
with every page turn.
I was totally rooting for him.
But just when you think he's going to make it,
Oh, yeah.
tragedy strikes.
He sacrifices himself
He does.
to ensure the herbs are found.
Yeah.
I have to admit, on my first read, I felt cheated.
Really?
Like all that effort for nothing.
You know?
But then seeing how Luca's father channels his grief,
Oh, that's good.
that changed everything.
It's not just about finding a cure.
right.
It's about the ripple effect of Luca's actions.
Mm-hmm.
His father,
Yeah.
instead of succumbing to despair,
Mm-hmm.
opens his workshop,
Okay.
sharing the craft that connected him to his son.
Right. And the villagers, who
Mhm.
were once strangers,
Yeah,
find this unexpected unity
that's beautiful.
through their shared grief
Right.
and the craft itself.
It's like Luca's sacrifice becomes this catalyst
right.
for something beautiful
Yeah.
and lasting. This theme of finding strength in unexpected places
Well, okay.
continues in Not All Is Lost.
Sure.
Here we meet Jack,
Okay.
who's lost his business,
Yeah.
his relationships.
He's hit rock bottom.
He's hit rock bottom.
Just sees no way out.
And that's where that peer sign comes in.
Right.
Not all is lost if you're reading this.
Wow.
Such a simple message.
Yeah.
But for Jack,
Yeah.
it's like a lifeline thrown in the middle of a storm.
It is.
What's interesting is how that sign triggers this chain reaction in Jack.
Okay.
It prompts him to pray,
Huh.
to reconnect with his faith,
Yeah.
something he hadn't done in years.
Right.
It's not a sudden miraculous turnaround,
Right.
but it sets him on a path to rebuilding his life.
Yeah. And it's not just about finding faith.
Right.
It's about connecting with others.
Mm-hmm.
He meets Sam, an older man on the pier
Wow.
who shares his own story of overcoming loss.
Yeah.
It's like that shared vulnerability creates this space for healing and growth.
It's like that saying, sometimes you have to hit rock bottom to rise again.
Yeah.
But in Jack's case,
Yeah.
it wasn't just about hitting bottom.
Mm-hmm.
It was about finding something meaningful in the wreckage.
Yes. Instead of just rebuilding his life,
Right.
he rebuilds it with a purpose,
That's great.
helping others who are struggling.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty profound shift from the material success-driven Jack
Yeah.
we met at the beginning.
Yeah.
And this theme of transformation through adversity continues with Heather
Right.
in God Give Me Strength.
Right.
He's a war veteran,
Yeah.
battling addiction and PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
He's haunted by his past,
Right.
struggling to find peace.
And it's his mother's Bible,
Yeah,
of all things,
of all things.
that becomes his lifeline.
It's not just about finding religion, though.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's about finding strength in something bigger than himself.
Mm-hmm.
He remembers the chaplain's words.
Yeah.
Sometimes real strength is just letting God carry the weight you can't.
That's powerful.
That's a powerful concept.
Even for someone who isn't particularly religious,
Yeah.
it speaks to the idea of surrendering to something beyond our control. And for Evan,
Yeah.
it's about taking his recovery one day at a time.
He writes those words one day at a time
Yeah.
and carries them with him.
That's like a mantra,
It is.
a reminder to focus on the present moment
Yeah.
rather than getting overwhelmed by the enormity of his struggles.
Right.
And slowly we see him taking small steps towards healing.
We do.
Which brings us to Emma's story.
Okay.
God is going to help us. I know he will.
All right.
Here we see a different manifestation of faith.
Mm-hmm.
Emma's a widowed mother
Okay.
trying to hold her family together after her husband's accident.
Oh.
She's carrying so much grief and responsibility.
It's heartbreaking.
It is.
But there's also this incredible tenderness in her story.
Right.
Her late night prayers are so raw and honest.
Yeah.
And it's through those quiet moments of faith that she finds solace.
And it's beautiful how her children,
Oh, yeah.
despite their own grief,
Yeah.
become these pillars of strength for her,
Yeah.
especially Noah,
Right.
her 6-year-old son.
Uh-huh.
His innocent faith,
Yeah.
his unshakable belief
Yeah.
that God is going to help us
I love that.
is both heartwarming and inspiring.
It really is.
And it makes you think about how sometimes the simplest expressions of faith
Right.
can be the most profound,
They are.
and how that belief can be contagious,
Uh-huh.
lifting others out of despair.
Yeah.
It's not just about divine intervention, though. It's about the power of family.
Right.
The way love and shared faith
Mm.
can help us through even the darkest times.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, where do we find that kind of strength
Yeah.
when life throws us a curveball?
That's a great question. These stories, while grounded in very specific situations, they tap into these universal human experiences.
Right.
I mean, who hasn't felt lost,
Yeah.
overwhelmed, questioning
Right?
why things happen the way they do?
Absolutely.
But seeing these characters
Yeah.
navigate those emotions,
Right.
it gives you a different perspective.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's not about sugarcoating the hard stuff.
Right.
Ramirez doesn't shy away from the raw emotions
Yeah.
of grief, anger, even doubt.
Uh-huh.
But through it all,
Yeah.
there's this undercurrent of hope,
Okay.
this belief that even in the darkest moments,
Yeah.
there's a possibility of finding light.
Right. And it's not always about
Mm.
some big dramatic turnaround.
Right.
Sometimes it's about those small victories,
Yeah.
those incremental steps forward
Absolutely.
that pave the way for lasting change.
We see that in several stories.
Okay.
Jack, with his one step at a time approach to rebuilding his life.
Mm-hmm.
Evan committing to one more day of sobriety.
Right.
Even Emma finding solace in her nightly prayers.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reminder that even when facing seemingly insurmountable challenges,
Right.
progress is possible.
Yeah.
One small step at a time.
And those small steps often lead to something much bigger.
Yeah.
Like for Jack,
Huh?
it wasn't just about getting back on his feet.
Right.
It was about finding a deeper sense of purpose in helping others.
That's a great observation.
It's like that brokenness that
Yeah.
hitting rock bottom
Yeah.
opened up a whole new dimension of empathy
Yeah.
and compassion in him.
It's almost like adversity
Yeah.
can be a catalyst for personal growth,
Mm-hmm.
for expanding our capacity to connect with others who are struggling.
Yeah.
And speaking of connection,
Yeah.
hope till the end takes a slightly different approach,
Okay.
focusing on the enduring power of love,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the face of death.
Yeah. This one hit me hard.
Oh, really?
Ben, this terminally ill father,
Yes.
using his remaining time
Mm.
to impart wisdom to his 6 children.
That's beautiful.
There's so much sadness. Yeah.
Of course. But also this incredible sense of peace
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
acceptance. It's not about denying the reality of his situation.
Right.
It's about finding meaning
Yeah.
and connection in the time he has left.
And it's not just about the lessons he teaches them.
Right.
It's about the love that permeates every interaction. It's in the way he looks at his wife,
Yeah.
the stories he tells his children, the memories he leaves behind.
I love that.
It's a reminder that
Yeah.
even in the face of loss,
Right.
love can endure, transcending the boundaries of time and space.
It's like that saying, love never dies.
Right.
And while it might sound cliche,
Yeah.
I think Ben's story shows us that
Mm.
even in the face of death,
Mm-hmm.
love can be a source of strength and solace
Yeah.
for those left behind.
And it brings us to the final story,
Okay.
grief, tragedy, and hope,
Right.
where the brothers, David and Aaron, face what feels like
In an unrelenting wave of adversity.
they do.
It's almost like Ramirez is throwing everything he can at these characters.
Oh, wow.
Addiction, homelessness,
Right.
the fire that destroys their dream coffee shop,
Right.
and then Aaron's sudden illness.
It's a brutal reminder
It is.
that life can be incredibly unfair.
And it's in that moment of utter despair
Yeah.
when David cries out to God,
Mm-hmm.
questioning why they have to endure so much pain,
Uh-huh.
that something shifts.
Yeah.
It's not a miracle cure
Right.
or a sudden change of fortune,
Right.
but there's this palpable sense of peace
Right.
that descends upon him.
I felt that.
This feeling that he's not alone in his grief.
Yeah,
It's a fascinating juxtaposition.
it is.
On the one hand, you have this raw
Yeah.
human expression of anger and despair.
Uh-huh.
And on the other hand,
Yeah.
there's this quiet acceptance,
Yeah.
this almost inexplicable sense of something greater at work.
And it's not just about divine intervention.
Yeah.
It's about the way people rally around them. A friend offering them a new space.
Yeah.
Strangers offering encouragement.
It highlights the power of community.
Yeah.
The way we can support each other through those dark times.
It's a beautiful example
It is.
of how resilience isn't always about individual grit and determination.
Right.
Sometimes it's about allowing ourselves to be vulnerable,
Yeah.
to lean on others.
To receive the support that's being offered.
Yeah.
And in doing so, we create this ripple effect of hope and healing that extends outward,
Right.
touching everyone involved.
And ultimately, that's what these stories are all about.
Right, right.
They're about finding hope, not in the absence of hardship, but in the midst of it.
Absolutely.
They're about recognizing that even when things fall apart, there's still beauty to be found, love to be shared, and a reason to keep going.
Exactly. And it's not about ignoring or minimizing the pain and suffering. It's about acknowledging those challenges while simultaneously choosing to believe in the possibility of healing and growth.
Right.
It's about recognizing that the human spirit has an incredible capacity for resilience, for finding meaning and purpose, even in the face of adversity.
And that brings us back to you, dear listener. We've explored these 6 stories, each one offering a unique perspective on how people find hope and strength in difficult times. But what about your own life?
Right.
Where do you find those sources of strength when faced with challenges?
It's an important question to ponder.
It is.
The sources of hope are as varied
Yeah.
as our individual experiences. It could be faith, family,
Right.
a sense of purpose, a connection to nature, or simply the belief that even in the darkest of nights,
Right.
dawn will eventually break.
It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day, to focus on the immediate challenges in front of us.
But these stories invite us
Yeah.
to step back and consider the bigger picture, the things that truly matter, the values that guide us,
Yeah.
the connections that sustain us.
And to recognize that those sources of strength are often found in the most unexpected places.
That's true.
It might be a quiet moment of reflection,
Right.
a conversation with a loved one, or even a simple act of kindness that reminds us of the good in the world.
Like that pier sign in Jack's story.
I know.
Something so ordinary,
Right.
yet it had this profound impact on his life,
Yeah.
leading him down a path of healing and transformation.
It makes you wonder
It does.
how many of those seemingly insignificant moments hold the potential for change.
Perhaps it's about being more attuned to those moments,
Right.
to cultivating a sense of openness, to the possibility that hope can emerge, even from the most unlikely sources.
Yeah.
It's like Ramirez is challenging us
Right.
to look beyond the surface, to delve into the depths of human experience and find those glimmers of light that shine,
Right.
even amidst darkness.
And to remember that resilience isn't a fixed trait.
Right.
It's a muscle that we can strengthen through practice.
Absolutely.
Each time we face a challenge,
Right.
each time we choose hope over despair, we're building our capacity to navigate life's inevitable ups and downs.
As we wrap up our deep dive
Okay.
into one more day of hope,
Yeah.
I'm left with this lingering question.
Okay.
If you could whisper a message of hope to someone struggling right now,
Yeah.
what would it be?
That's a beautiful prompt for reflection.
And perhaps in pondering that question, we'll not only discover our own wellspring of hope,
Right.
but also find ways to share that light with others, illuminating the path toward a brighter,
Yeah.
more resilient future.
Beautifully said.
Well,
And on that note, we'll conclude our deep dive.
okay.
Thanks for joining us. And until next time,
Yeah.
keep seeking those glimmers of hope.
Right.
Keep believing in the power of the human spirit. And keep reminding yourself that you're not alone in this journey.